Everybody that's anybody in the music business performed live from Studio A.
It's Columbus radio at its finest.
They like it. That's where the support comes from.
I love WCBE, and I can't imagine Columbus without it.
And his album release show will be at Natalie's tomorrow night. Welcome to Studio A.
How's it going?
Well, good. Why don't we just get started with the song here? What's the name of the first one?
This is called I've Been Thinking of You.
Okay.
It's one of the songs on that new album. Little darling, that night we parted, when you left for the great unknown, my heart sang a song of sorrow when you were on that train and gone. I've been thinking of you, you've been thinking of me. I've been lonesome as I could be. The days are long, the nights are longer. I've been thinking of you, thinking of me. When that train rolled from that station, my heart was heavy like the grinding rails. I waved goodbye as we parted, and I heard that lonesome whistle wail. I've been thinking of you, you've been thinking of me. I've been lonesome as I could be. The days are long, the nights are longer. I've been thinking of you, you've been thinking of me. Night is cold, my heart is burning, my loneliness I can't ignore. My darling dear, I've been yearning, yes, I've been waiting for your return. I've been thinking of you, you've been thinking of me. I've been lonesome as I could be. The days are long, the nights are longer. I've been thinking of you, thinking of me.
That's Scott Lee playing live in Studio A. His new release is Junk Drawer Dimes, and the release show will be at Natalie's tomorrow night. We're about to give away a pair of tickets for that show. Before we do, though, tell us about the other people who are going to be at Natalie's with you.
Going to have Jesse Henry and Kayla Powers opening up the show. And then the band is going to be some of the members that recorded the album with me. My new band, Scott Lee and the Wanderers. Got Sean Jenkins from the Spike Drivers. And Billy Zeno's going to be on bass. My brother-in-law, Steven Snyder, is going to be on drums, and Caleb Powers is going to fill in on the fiddle.
All right, well, let's give away a pair of tickets for that show now. Again, it's for Scott Lee tomorrow night at Natalie's. His album release show doors open at 8. Music starts at about 9. We'll take caller 4 right now at area code 614-821-9223. That's to see Scott Lee tomorrow night at Natalie's. Again, the number to call for a pair of tickets to that show is area code 614-821-9223. And you're out of the Dayton area. When did you start to play music?
I started playing music when I was 14. I'd learned guitar. So I've been doing it for about 20 years. And, yeah, played all over Dayton, music festivals and bars. And looking to start playing more here in Columbus.
All right. Well, let's hear a song, then we'll talk a little more about your new release. What's
right.
the name of this one?
This one's called Muse of Fire. I wanna float down your sweetest stream and dive into your deepest dreams to find something to believe in. I've been starving out on the streets, dealing my heart to thieves, searching for some feeling. 'Cause I've been wounded, I've been scarred, the deck's been stacked with joker cards. I'm needing your healing. Whoa, whoa, my muse of fire, you set light to my desires. You make my heart start beating. Well, sometimes the world feels so gray. You bring the colors to the fray. You make my dreams stop weaving. The way you talk, babe, the way you move, like you got nothing to prove. I'm digging what you're bringing. 'Cause I was a cynic, now I'm all smiles. You took my heart, turned up the dial, left my soul a-singing. Whoa, whoa, my muse of fire, you set light to my desires. You make my heart start beating. Like a Shakespeare sonnet on the wooden O, or a sunflower by Van Gogh, your beauty should last forever. Like a scene by Claude Monet, you're not a flower but a whole bouquet. You made me a believer. I'm gonna write you these love songs, heartfelt poems. Babe, you get my heart a-going, you give me the fever. Whoa, whoa, my muse of fire, you set light to my desires. You make my heart start beating.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Scott Lee playing live in Studio A. He has an album release show coming up tomorrow night at Natalie's. And Jesse Henry and Caleb Powers opening the show. And Scott Lee will play with the full band tomorrow night at Natalie's. Let's give away another pair of tickets for that show right now. We'll take caller 4 again at area code 614-821-9223 to see Scott Lee, Jesse Henry, Caleb Powers, and quite a few other musicians as well tomorrow night at Natalie's. Give us a call here at 614-821-9223 to pick up a pair of tickets for that show. And Jesse Henry is here with us in Studio A. Not only will he be playing tomorrow night at Natalie's, he helped produce your release, or at least worked on it, correct?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So tell us a little bit about how you met and how you started to collaborate.
I met Jesse, I think it might have been 2012 at Miami Valley Music Fest in Troy, and saw his band, the Spike Drivers, and immediately became a fan. And then I think either that weekend or maybe the next year at Miami Valley, we met around a campfire and jammed some tunes together. Been friends ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that night we met and were jamming, I went to bed probably at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. And then we had probably played for like 4 or 5 hours, and I woke up the next morning at 9, and Scott was still around this campfire playing songs. I'm like, dude, how many songs did you have to repeat? He goes, no, I know about 1,500 songs. So, over the years, just jamming around campfires and knowing him, I was starting to try to put a little collective together to get the whole entire state of Ohio to have a spot, with a title called the Folk Czar of Ohio. And I was pushing for Scott to be the first folk czar of Ohio. So maybe after this album gets some play, Scott, they're going to get you in there, man.
Well, where do you go to have this release recorded?
We went to Earthworks Studios in Newark. It was recorded by Tom Matha. And it was a great time. Spent a weekend there.
So did everybody come in together and just lay down the tracks, or did you do some maybe overdubs or mailing files back and forth, anything like that?
Well, what happened was Scott called me maybe, I think, end of February last year and said, hey, I got a batch of tunes I want you to help me go into the studio and put together. So maybe mid-March last year, Scott and I started getting together and picking out which batch of songs we were going to record. I just kind of helped him maybe with a little details, a little fine-tuning, but Scott really had a good sense of where the songs were. And, also I'm a vocalist. We worked a lot with vocals and guitar, and then started piecing the band together. Mm-hmm. And I think we put together one heck of a band who's not only personally supportive of Scott, but also plays his music like best that anybody could. They're a great match for Scott Lee.
All right, well, Scott,
but not really any overdubs. We kind of kept it old school and
okay.
old timey, like Scott. Even though he's only 30-something.
All right. Well, it's Scott Lee in Studio A. You can see him play live tomorrow night at Natalie's. What's the last song you're going to play for us here today?
Could do the title track, Junk Drawer Dimes. It's a little song I wrote about all you underdogs out there. In this world there are treasures that may be weathered or lost in the hustle of life. Put in a drawer and thought of no more till the time is right. Well, in each underdog story, there's a moment of glory where one's true talent is seen. When the favored get labored, fall by the way as one of these treasures steps on the scene. Junk drawer dimes, shining like diamonds, Lord knows why they're tossed away. For when they're discovered, they'll shine like no other as they see the light of day. Well, I'll tell you of a singer, a true blue picker, who writes like his heart's on his sleeve. Never got his big break, and so his soul aches, but he never stops his belief. And in the old rundown bars, he plays his guitar, singing to a crowd of a few. If you keep a-writing and a-trying, then before you're a-dying, you could quit singing these blues. Junk drawer dimes, shining like diamonds, Lord knows why they're tossed away. For when they're discovered, they'll shine like no other as they see the light of day. Somewhere there's a child who seems meek and mild, the world they love to observe. But the talkers, the gawkers, and the chest-puffed-out walkers make it hard for their voice to be heard. But in your heart is a fire, a burning desire to show you're merit and made. Well, if you study like a demon and you never stop believing, then success will find your way. Junk drawer dimes, shining like diamonds, Lord knows why they're tossed away. For when they're discovered, they'll shine like no other as they see the light of day. Lastly, the lover with a heart like no other, a treasure with a soul to behold. One after another, they get passed over, think they'll die so lonely and old. Oh, but love finds a way, it'll happen one day, you'll know from the very first line. And then you'll live happily, no more agony, and no more lonely nights crying. Junk drawer dimes, shining like diamonds, Lord knows why they're tossed away. For when they're discovered, they'll shine like no other as they see the light of day. Junk drawer dimes, shining like diamonds, Lord knows why they're tossed away. Or when they're discovered, they'll shine like no other as they see the light of day. As they see the light of day.
See you at Natalie's.